hear me? All right.
When you come across a casualty, you run checks. First of all, clear the area, make a way, do away with the danger, and then you elicit for response. Elicit for response by way of tapping on the casualty's chest and asking questions like, can you hear me? When you have to place a casualty in recovery position, make sure the airway is open by tilting the head backward to enable the airway cleared. And then you take the casualty's hand into an angle 90 position, take the other hand to the chin. Always make sure this part of the hand is placed on the chin and not this part to enable, because usually when people go unconscious, this particular part of the palm becomes very cold and this becomes warm. Move the leg up to a level this way and then you move the casualty towards your side and then you open the casualty's airway to enable the casualty breathe. For any breath from the casualty's mouth or nose. When all these are not there, and if you know how to check for pulse and you can't get the pulse, that means the casualty is unconscious and not breathing. And CPR, high quality CPR, is advised at that point. Now we'll go into the practical sessions to tell you more how you should give CPR to a casualty who is unconscious and not breathing. Now we have to give CPR to a casualty who is unconscious and not breathing. How do you perform CPR? CPR is divided into three. You have adult CPR, you have children CPR, and you have infant CPR. The normal ratio of CPR is 32. That means you have to compress a casualty's chest 30 times and give 2 rescue breaths, or what we call kiss of life, or what we call mouth-to-mouth respiration. How do you do that? For an adult, you have to give your compressions up to 2 inches depth of the chest or 1/3 depth of the chest. And to achieve that, you're giving an adult CPR, you use 2 hands to do that. If I'm to give a child CPR, I'll use 1 hand to do that. And I have to give an infant, I'll use 2 fingers to do that. How do you compress the chest? We said at the center of the chest is where you give CPR. Make sure your casualty's airway is open. You use the heel of your palm and not this part, the heel of your palm, to place at the center and then lock it up with your left hand. If you have someone who makes more of your left hand, the left heel goes there and your right locks it up. Whichever hand you are comfortable with, there's no problem. But make sure your hands are free for you to do that. In 1 minute, you're supposed to compress the chest up to 100 and 120 compressions. So it means for you to achieve 30 compressions in 20 seconds, you're supposed to compress up to 30 times. So it means for in 1 second, you're supposed to hit the chest twice for you to achieve 30 compressions in 20 seconds. So how do you do that? Take your hands this way. Never stay far from the casualty compressing. Because of the depth you are supposed to reach to get good high quality CPR, staying far this way may affect your spine, and you stress your spine and you might not achieve that depth. So you go closer to your casualty, lock your joints, and then you push in your body. So CPR is not done this way, but it's done this way, pushing in your body. And when compressing a casualty, ensure you do what we call blue check. Blue check means you always check from the head to the toe, from the toe back to the head, to see if there's any reaction while you are compressing. So how do you do that? You put it this way and then you go on the chest up to 30 times. And then you give what we call rescue breath. Now we have gadgets on field now. We use pocket masks and all for rescue breath. We don't advise anyone to give direct mouth to mouth to a stranger who he or she has just met on field, because of infection that may arise on field. We tell you not to, and then the crowd reacting negatively to you. You avoid going direct mouth to mouth to them, and ensure for every emergency response you are giving, your hands are in your gloves protected. So if you don't have those gadgets like the pocket mat and the rest to give rescue breath, you can actually fold your hands this way to also do that. But if you are doing this, always ensure the casualty's nose is closed at the point of entry. You close this way and then you blow in. The reason why we are closing the nose is because if you don't close the nose and you blow in air, everything will escape through the nose. So you close at the point of entry and release immediately to check. Why are you doing that? There are some casualties when you pour in air that way, they want to sneeze or react. But if you are holding your nose constant, you don't have the energy to do that. So the best way to do it, when you introduce air, you release immediately, introduce again, release, and then you check for chest rise, listen for any wheezing noise, and feel for breath. That's the LLF method of doing that. If there's no response, you have to repeat sequence. For a child, you go with 1 hand on the chest with the airways still open. Most times, cases, some children might not have reserved oxygen when they go unconscious. So sometimes you advise to give 5 initial rescue breaths first before compressing them. You do that this way, and then you compress up to 30 times on this. Now, both the adult and the child and even the infant, when compressing them, you must do what we call a view check, because the casualty can respond at any point in time. Now, you are compressing the casualty, and maybe on the 5th count the person ejects. Don't say wait, it's remaining 25 for you to complete and all. You have to stop even at a count when the body reacts or the casualty reacts to your compression. It means you are giving good CPR and the casualty is reacting to it. The heart has started working, and the next assistance is to place such a person in recovery position to aid that person to recover fast. But infants also go unconscious, and what causes complete unconsciousness most times in infants is what causes fainting in adults, and that's due to lack of oxygenated blood in the baby's brain. When there's not enough oxygen-rich blood in the baby's brain, it causes them to lose their consciousness. And what do? For you to elicit for response in an infant is different from that of a child and an adult, because asking them, can you hear me, open your eyes, what's your name at this level age, they may not understand that. So what you do is you scratch both foots to see if there's any reaction. Most kids, when you do this, they tend to move on your body, and once this happens, it means though they're unconscious, they are still breathing. The children's body parts are not properly formed for you to start twisting it and turning them at all. You may end up giving them what we call green stick fracture. So to avoid that, take a child that is unconscious but still breathing on your body this way, allowing the head to flow down this way to allow for blood to flow from the lower part of the body to the brain to restart circulation. If the head is facing this way, it's just the same thing you do. Gently take it this way and do that. Please avoid holding children this way because you want to send this thing. If your hands mistakenly leave the child's legs, the child is landing with the head, and another, it will become a dangerous situation. But when you have checked all this and there's no response, then you have to give 5 rescue breaths and then compress them 30 times. Do not use your hands this way in compressing an infant. If you have fingernails and you are compressing an infant this way, you might end up damaging the child's chest. Slant your hand this way and then use the heel of your palm of your fingers to do that. And ensure the airway is gently open while you compress this child up to 30 times compression. You give the 2 rescue breaths and then you check if there's any response. If there's any response, you quickly place in correct position while finding a way to evacuate either this infant to the nearest medical facility, or this child to the nearest medical facility, or this adult to the nearest medical facility. For casualties who have drowned and are pulled out from the water, the first thing you need to do is you don't just go straight compressing someone who is just pulled out from water. You have to run checks to know if the person pulled out from water is unconscious breathing or not. The casualty is still breathing. You don't need to compress the chest at that point. What you need to do is to place the person in recovery position. What happens is the water that goes into the lungs and replaces the oxygen with water that causes the person to drown. Once the person is placed in that recovery position and the airway is properly open, the water leaves the lungs and then comes out, and then the body on its own discharges the water it has absorbed through the cells. It's only when the casualty is unconscious, not breathing, and being put out from the water and is discovered unconscious not breathing, you compress the chest. And that's why we say CPR is cardiopulmonary. The cardio means the heart system, pulmonary means the lungs, and then resuscitation means revival. So what you are manually doing is you are manually restarting the heart. So CPR is done at the center of the chest and not on the abdomen like some people do. So if someone is put out from water and don't concentrate because the stomach is big, that's where I should compress. No, concentrate on the heart, and immediately you are compressing and water pops out from the person's mouth and the person starts breathing, you are expected to stop compression and then place in recovery position and find a way to evacuate such a person. Remember, when you are doing this, do not stay silent with such a casualty. You need to keep on reassuring the casualty that you are there to support the person, so the person fights with his own life, and then you do everything humanly possible with your skills to resuscitate that person. Avoid going into water if you don't know how to swim. Do not attempt going into water to save someone who is drowning if you don't know how to swim. Rather, call for help. If you go into water and you don't know how to swim to rescue someone who is drowning and the person gets hold of you, the 2 of you will end up getting drowned. So always find a way to call for help, or extend a rope, or extend a safety tube, or extend a long stick to the casualty to hold, and then you can actually pull the person up. But do not attempt diving into water when someone is drowning when you don't know how to swim.